Assalamu alaikum, guys. So I just want to go through the next lesson after we talked about maps and how maps are an account or representation of the cartographer's view of the area. We looked at how the projections were and the different types of problems with those projections, and then after that, which this was a little visual about how a cartographer is affected by his knowledge, his experience, his perspective, his attitude, his skills, and his purpose in order to create that map. And we kind of demonstrated that with the map of the school, right? So then we talked about history and how historians are also affected by those exact same things when they write their account, right? So we talked about the difference between an historical event and a historical account. So a historical event, I'm going to fast forward through this. And this is when we did our account for the first day of school and we compared it, right? So the historical event happened once, and the historical event here was the first day of school. And then our account of it is basically our perception or our point of view of the first day of school. So we talked about point of view, and we talked about that quite in detail because it's a very, very important concept throughout history whenever we're reading an account and wherever we're looking at evidences, which we'll further talk about, that we have to understand that they have a certain perspective or point of view, and there can be more than one point of view. We talked about how they're not necessarily right or wrong, but it's that person's perception of what happened or of what a place looks like when it comes to maps, right? So we did this quick activity on point of view. So again, a historical event is something that happened in the past. Once it has occurred, we can no longer see it. Historical events happen only once. On the other hand, historical accounts are representations of past events. So they are what we believe happened, okay? Just like the maps were your representation of an area, a historical account is a representation of that past event. So there's this little chart. This can also be found in your packet if you need to review. So then we talked a little bit about the differences between these two things, a birthday party versus the pictures of the party, what happened, and a video of what happened. And we talked about how they can be different points of view and different biases, even when it comes to videos or images, and how that's really important now, especially in this day and age when there's so much information out there. You really have to question your sources, okay? So, to figure out what really happened, we have to look at evidence, okay? And this is when we start talking about primary and secondary sources, internal and external consistencies versus fact and opinion. And fact and opinion, we kind of briefly went over those definitions, but that's something that you've previously covered in previous grades. So really what we focused on was primary and secondary sources and how to check those sources by internal and external consistencies.